So, I am Mr. Larson. I know this is kind of the first time that we've been able to meet. If you feel comfortable, please turn on your camera. Again, I always like to see my students' faces. It does seem to correlate where the more that you have your camera on and you're active in class, you tend to do better as well. Again, these are meant to be quick. We've got about 25 minutes, so I'm just going to jump right into it. We've got a lot to go over, seeming as this is our first class connect. So kind of the first thing I wanted to just talk about is the structure of class, how your grades are calculated, so on and so forth. Again, that's important stuff that I just want to clarify and make sure that we are all on the same page. So you should be able to see my screen. I believe it should be just a white kind of notepad. Can someone give me a thumbs up or okay, awesome. So we can see that. So it's a little confusing at first, but I think we can clarify this. So again, your overall semester grade, okay? Semester grade is made up of 2 quarters. We have Q1 and Q2. In quarter 1, your overall semester grade is worth 40%. In quarter 2, your overall semester grade is 60%. And the reason that it's different is that quarter 1 is a little bit shorter. There's less days. So again, if there's more days in quarter 2, that means we can learn more stuff, so it's going to be worth a little bit more. So in first quarter, okay, 20% of your grade is what I call formative assessments. Now, when I hear the word formative, I think about practice, okay? So it's super important that I believe in math that you practice. So this could, again, in a traditional class setting, this would be like homework, or this would be classwork, okay? This would just be kind of those just kind of, I guess, basic things that we're just doing to get better. So if you've noticed, if you've been doing the assignments, you'll see that you get multiple attempts. So let's say I tried an assignment and I didn't do as good as I wanted. Maybe I got a 2 out of 5 or a 3 out of 5. My expectation is that you would try to say, hey, where did I goof up? Where did I make a mistake? And then you would try that again. Question from one of my earlier classes is that which grade gets counted? It will be your highest score again. So you get 3 attempts is a standard. If you need more attempts, absolutely communicate that with me. But again, in my thinking is, hey, I did it 3 times. I still can't get the answer. That means we should probably meet. We need to talk about this. We need to figure out where the misconceptions are so that we can clear that up. So again, that's in quarter 1, 20% is formative assessments. For the other 20% you have is your class connects. Okay, so again, that is like what we're doing right now. That would be today. So what is going to happen is today is a little bit different because I have to talk about all this stuff. Normally, what we would do is we would my expectation is that you've watched the lessons, you've tried the video, you've tried the assignments, and then we would do review, we would do question answering, okay? So if you've ever heard the term flipped classroom, that's kind of what it's structured as, is you try the stuff, you watch the lecture videos on your own, and then you come back and then we answer questions, we troubleshoot during this, okay? So again, you'll see that there is one assignment for today. That's again how we take attendance, is I'll tell you what you need to do, and it'll be very, very clear. It'll be very easy. This first week, again, it's very easy assignment, but we'll deal with that a little bit later. And then the last 60% is summative, okay? So this is like, show me what you know, what have you learned, and these are gonna be our quizzes and tests, okay? So again, summative is like our quizzes and our tests. Those are the big assignments. Now, on Schoology, it says you get 1 attempt. Now, that is true. However, I am open to having retakes or for possibilities to earn points back. But again, that's going to take an additional effort by you. So that's going to take you reaching out to me and saying, hey, I want to do this. And so what we'll do is we'll come up with a plan and say, hey, I noticed you got these types of questions wrong. I want you to practice these problems first. Because to me, say I got a 60% on my test. I'm not going to magically just learn the information without doing more practice or without doing more work. So that's why it's going to take an additional step in order to have that opportunity to earn points back or to retake a quiz, okay? Because again, you don't just magically learn things the second time around. You have to practice them. You have to work at it. And then it's really similar for second quarter. There's just one slight difference. Again, 20% formative, 20% class connect. Okay, and then the difference is that summative is only worth 50%, and then we have a final, okay, a semester final that's worth 10%. So that's the slight difference between quarter one and quarter two. Any questions at all about how the grades are formatted, how it's set up, anything like that? Okay, I'm seeing some head shaking. Again, if you do, or if you're not comfortable speaking up in class, just email me. I can explain it in more detail. Again, that's kind of the boring stuff, but we had to talk about it. As far as how to be successful in geometry, okay, there are 3 apps that I need you to download, again, on your iPad. Again, you can do everything from a computer, but again, in math, sometimes I need you to show your work. And so like, yes, you can show work with a mouse by like clicking and moving the mouse, but I think it's easier if you are using your either finger to write out problems, or I have a stylus that I use to type or to write things out on my notebook. And that seems to work really well. So the 3 apps, and so if you have your iPad, you can do this right now. If you just need to write them down, the 3 apps that you're gonna need this year, okay? And how we find it is, notice that this 4-colored box, it's kind of in the bottom right here. This is called self-service, okay? And so this is how you can download different apps. The first app that you're gonna need, it starts with a D, it's called Desmos, okay? That's like your graphing calculator. So if you have a graphing calculator, you can use it. I'm going to use Desmos. It's a free app and it works really, really nice. So you can download both the graphing calculator and the scientific calculator. For right now, I believe we're just gonna need the graphing calculator, okay? So the Desmos graphing calculator is app number 1 that I need you to download. The second app that I would like you to download is called Notability. And that's what I use for like my notes. That's what I use when I make videos. And so again, sometimes when I ask you to submit your work, or again, I've given you worksheets, what you can do is you can download those worksheets right into Notability. Okay, you can download that app right into Notability, and then you're able to like annotate the worksheets. So I've had some people ask me, is it okay if I just write it out and take a picture? Yes, that's okay. However, I've been lenient these first couple weeks. Sometimes I'm not seeing all the problems. So if you take a picture, if you do it on pencil and paper, 100% okay. But when you submit that, I need to see all the problems. And so the problem is like, say it's 2 pages, people are only submitting 1 page. They're not submitting both pages. So again, I would recommend using Notability. That's what I use to write on all my stuff. And like what you can do is you can go on Schoology and you can just import that document right into Notability. So you can just download it and put it right into Notability and just start doing your math problems that way. So Desmos, Notability, the third app that you need, and this one is probably kind of the most important for right now at least, is you notice that there's 2 Schoology apps, okay? This one is the one you probably already have. This is just the application. And the problem with this one is that it sometimes doesn't allow us to write on the iPad. It sometimes doesn't open up specific things. So what you need to do is you need to download the Schoology web clip. So what this does is you click on this, it'll automatically open Schoology in Safari, okay, on the internet. And when you do that on the internet, it allows you to like write out problems and show your work, those types of things. So again, I have both apps. Say I wanted to do this one, I'll click it and it just opens up right into Safari, okay? Right into Safari. So I would go to geometry. Again, you could find something like this, okay? Algebra review check assignment, algebra review lesson 1, review lesson 2, review lesson 3. And we are gonna do some of that review work. Again, I got to go through these kind of details stuff first before we get into it. Okay. So those are the 3 apps that you're going to need downloaded. Any questions on how to download those or how to get those before we move on to Schoology stuff? All right. So again, I'm going to share my screen. I'm on the computer this time. So if I look at, this is wrong class. If I go to geometry, okay, I see, hey, week 1, I've got my Classroom Connects. We're going to start with our pacing guide, okay? If you're ever not sure what to do, click on the pacing guide. And yes, it pops up right here, but I recommend you click on this blue link and it makes a new window. I think it's much easier to see if you make a new window. And again, at the bottom, you can see, hey, week 1, we're in week 2 right now. Notice I had some drop-in hours this week. I did see a few of you. So again, if you're not sure what you're supposed to be doing, if you have questions, anything written in black is assigned, but it's not graded. So that's like saying, hey, you got to watch the lesson. You got to watch the lesson. Anything written in red is assigned. This is due. So I made everything, again, due on the Sunday. So I'll always open stuff up on a Monday for you, and it's due that next Sunday. So every Monday, I'll go through, I'll make sure everything's graded from that week, and then I'll upload those grades to Infinite Campus, again, at least once a week. I've been instructed to remind you that Infinite Campus is your real grades, not necessarily what's showing on Schoology. So that can that's a little odd to me. Again, this is my first year at Link 12. So, but that's what we're going with, is that whatever is on Infinite Campus is your grades. So like, again, you would notice, okay, here's the lesson, here's the worksheet, and this is where you would submit your assignment. For Class Connects, you can open this up. Again, here's the document. Everything is going to be labeled here. So if I look at this, again, Class Connects are 20%. Each week is worth 10 points. What you would do is you could just click this link. I'll also post it on updates, but here's the link. You can open it up and you can go right there. If you miss the class for whatever reason, again, some people are enrolled full-time in Link 12. Some people maybe just do math. They do other classes in person. Maybe I had someone say they've got an orthodontist appointment. No issues whatsoever. What I'm going to do is I'm going to upload these videos to YouTube, and you can just click this link and it'll bring you right to that link where you can watch the lesson that you missed. And again, that is required. It is assignment. It is required that you attend this. This is how we take attendance. Again, if you notice, I've tried to keep all the times the same at 10. Of course, next week I had a conflict at 10, so we moved it to 12. But all the other times I'm trying to keep it the same at 10 a.m. So that's Class Connects. And again, if we go back there, you'll see your assignment is right here. So we'll talk about that a little bit at the end of class. We've got about 10 minutes left. I would like to do some example problems, again, from the reviews. So again, the reviews, or from algebra. Again, hopefully that's stuff that you remember learning about last year. If not, and you're learning it for the first time, that's totally okay. But again, these are kind of skills that entering into geometry, we kind of have to have down. So again, I'm going to use Notability just to use it as like as a notebook type of thing. And so one of the first things, or our first review lesson, was solving equations. And this is all about figuring out what is our unknowns. How do we figure out what our unknown variables are? So here's an example, okay? And I kind of just, oops, what's going on? I kind of just made it up on the spot, so we'll see if it works out nicely or if not. So one thing that we reviewed is called the distributive property. And so what that means is I take this number outside my parentheses and I multiply it into each term. So -2 multiplied by x is -2x. -2 multiplied by 3 is -6 equals -12. Now we've got our problem distributed, and I've got this equal sign. So remember, equations are balanced. Anything I do on the left, I have to do on the right. So if I look at this, and again, I'm going to think about PEMDAS, but I'm going to think about when I solve equations, I do it backwards. So I'd call this SADMET. So I need to do all subtraction and addition first. So I see that I have subtracting 6. So if I want to undo subtracting 6, I'm going to add 6. And anything I do on the left, I also have to do on the right. So this cancels out. I'm left with -2x. -12 plus +6 is -6. And now my, again, subtraction and addition complete. Division and multiplication. This says -2 multiplied by x. The opposite of multiplying by 2 is dividing by 2. So I'm going to divide both sides by -2. So it cancels out. -6 divided by -2 is +3. I could go ahead and check my answer by plugging it in right here. And again, if I did that, I would get -2, 3 plus 3 equals -12. 3 plus 3 is 6. So I get -12 equals -12. Of course, that's a true statement. So we are good to go with that. Solving equations. Questions on that before we jump into unit conversions? Okay. If you do, please reach out. Come to my drop-in hours. I'm here to help. Unit conversions can be a little tricky. The key is you have to make a plan. You got to have a roadmap to be successful. So I'm thinking about, I want to turn 8 miles into feet. Okay. So I'm going to start with 8 miles. And remember, when we start with something like this, I'm going to say that it's out of 1. So I'm going to put 8 miles, and anything I divide by 1 is the same exact answer. So I don't necessarily need to change anything. Now, there's one piece of information we need to know. Does anyone know off the top of their head how many feet are in 1 mile? So again, that's kind of a common conversion. So it's something you notice if you want to start to remember that. If not, again, I'll always give you the information you need to complete the problem. Okay. So again, my goal is to get rid of miles and to get it into feet. Now, if I have miles in my numerator and I want to cancel out miles, I better put miles in my denominator. So I'm going to say that I have 1 mile in my denominator, but again, I have to keep it equal. So what's equal to 1 mile? 5,280 feet. Okay, so again, if I look at this, I say, hey, miles divided by miles cancels out. So all that I'm left with in my numerator is 8 times 5,280 feet over 1 times 1. Well, 1 times 1 is very easy. So again, if you can use a Desmos, you've got a calculator on your app. 8 times 5,280 is 42,240 feet. So 8 miles equals 42,240 feet. All right, that's unit conversions. Again, just for the sake of time, we got to talk about our radicals. Radicals is a fancy word for square roots. So if I look at my square roots, I'm going to say, hey, I want to find the square root of 350. Now, most of us don't know this off the top of our head. I know I don't. But the trick to solving these is we want to find our perfect squares. So again, I'm writing a list of some of our perfect squares. Again, 2 times 2, 3 times 3, 4 times 4, 5 times 5, 6 times 6, 7 times 7. Okay, those are our perfect square numbers. And we want to find one that multiplies into 350. And the one that does is 25. So I'm going to rewrite the square root of 350 as the square root of 25 times 14. And I can change this up. I can split this apart. So I'm going to write this as the square root of 25 multiplied by the square root of 14. The square root of 25, we should know that one. That's going to be 5. So this equals 5 times the square root of 14. And if 14 was able to have one of these other numbers here, I could break that down even further. However, it does not. Therefore, that's as simplified as we can get. We can't get any further. Again, super quick explanation as to how we simplify radicals. And we want to break it up into smaller chunks. And we want to get our perfect squares. Okay. Perfect square numbers are our friends. So you're probably wondering, again, I know we're getting close to the end of our time. What is your assignment? So if I were to look on Schoology, again, everything you're going to need is on Schoology. I see that I have this Class Connect assignment. I'm going to preview it. And the question is, what 3 apps must you take that you have downloaded on your iPad? Again, the answer to that is Desmos, Notability, and Schoology Web Clip. Okay. Desmos, Notability, Schoology Web Clip. That's your assignment. If you did that, you are free to go. I will see you guys again next week. Is a different time. It's at 12 o'clock. Desmos, Notability, Schoology Web Clip. All right. Please reach out if you have any questions. It was nice to get to talk to you guys, and I look forward to meeting next week.